This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, good fortune to all of you. It's a Thursday. It's the Bitcoin Otter Show. We're going out to you on 97.7 KCYP, The City, TuneIn Radio, Radio Garden, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We're coming at you, and we appreciate you watching. What we're going to do now is explain to you a few things about Bitcoin. We're going to help you out understanding what it is, how you might invest in it, if you will. However, I'm going to look at my Facebook here, and I'm going to look for those comments, the things that you guys want to talk about. I'm game. I'm ready. So I'm on my Christopher Ott feed here, and I'll be getting on the Bitcoin Otter feed in just a minute. This way, whichever you guys are looking at, whichever one, I'll be able to catch the comments. Turn down my volume first. All right. So, a lot of things are happening this week, everybody. I don't have to tell you. We've got tragedy from last night. We'll talk on that. Sadly, we need to do something like that. Talk about something that happened that ended people's lives, unfortunately. Which I guess gives us an opportunity to segue into should be the first order of business, which is our verse of the day. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. So, if you have watched this show before, you know that this is more of a, hello, Sue, good to see you. Hello, Dad, if you're watching. Jim, good to see you guys. This is most definitely a ministry to me. In fact, our private membership association, the Bitcoin Otter PMA, is based on a faith in God. So these verses like this one, Proverbs 19:21, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. So while we may have many things planned, God's going to have his way, and it's good. I know sometimes it's difficult, painful, but if we come back at it, in the end, we'll realize, yeah, it's always the best. His way is always the best. Whether we take it or not, that's on us. An economic barometer, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin, all right? Bitcoin, 105, 130, $105,000, 130 for one Bitcoin. Yes. Silver, moving up, $31.86. And gold, ladies and gentlemen, today, January 30, 2025, gold hit its all-time high, 2,805 is where it was at a few minutes ago in the pre-show. Now, that, ladies and gentlemen, can tell you many things. What it says to me is we are going into a place where the US dollar might not be your best investment. You be the judge. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't pretend to be, and I won't be yours. So what I can say is be careful where you put your money, but perhaps the US dollar is not a real safe money. That's just me. And who am I? But a guy, who calls himself the Bitcoin Otter. Now, we'll go into some Bitcoin news here. That Bitcoin news, other than the fact that it's surging again, is that Bitcoin, Bloomberg, Forbes, all these old guard financial rags, want to opine on what it is the Bitcoin's doing. They want to tell us why the price moves, how the price moves, always in relation to their very own pieces of the pie, which of course is the US dollar, which is what they're paid in. Perhaps what you might believe, which is what I do, is that that's what they're extorted in. That's what they're owned by. These are the things, ladies and gentlemen, that concern them. When we want free money, they want centralized currency, right? Centralized. Why? Because they either are part of or are beneficiaries of the Federal Reserve currency, that monetary instrument that is based on debt, which is placed on your back and my back daily, and it has been for generations, since 1913 to be exact. So when you read Bloomberg, Forbes, all those other, Wall Street Journal, whatever it is, they're going to tell you what they want to tell you, first of all. Second of all, they're going to tell you that they know and you don't. Don't believe them. So in all these different publications, right, the usual suspects, if you will, they're attempting to cement a narrative, okay, that buy price, the price that you and I can get our Bitcoin at is, somehow tied to interest rates that the Federal Reserve and the owners of the Federal Reserve, one of which you are not. You are not an owner of the Federal Reserve, and it is not federal. It is a private company. You're not part of it. In fact, you're not even a client. You're just, a user, and they use you and me. So what they're trying to say is that their monetary instrument rules and reigns above the Bitcoin. We know better. Okay. So this is my take on this. So when you shoot, let's say there's a fire somewhere and you want to put it out, you have a fire extinguisher. What comes out of that fire extinguisher is called a flame retardant, right? So these people, and yeah, I'm consulting my notes because these are mine. This doesn't come from Forbes, doesn't come from Bloomberg. And of course it wouldn't once I tell you my take on this, okay? So what these publications do, regard to many things, but especially in Bitcoin, is it spreads retardant out. Yes. So if you're thinking I'm trying to tell you that they want to make you retarded in what it is that the logical truths of Bitcoin are, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Because it is a logical retardant spread by the mainstream media to make us retards. I said it. There you go. I said it. No more beating about the bush. Okay. Let me see if we got any comments here. Dan. Thank you, Dan, for watching. Let me see if I can pull some up on this one. And this is the one that always gives me the trouble here. So I'm not able to see right now. Let's see this one. I'll piccolo aquí. And live chat. Dan's on. You're on both of them. I see on both, Dan. So, all right. I haven't seen anything pop up yet. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to anything impactful in our lives, and the Bitcoin is most definitely that. It is a free item. Some might say entity, but the fact of the matter is it's a program. It's a program. It's a programmed, decentralized, monetary, deflationary instrument. I know those are a lot of words to describe Bitcoin, but if you start to understand it, when you begin to understand it, you're going to want to start or attempt to place you and your loved ones, your family, into a position where you can become more exposed to the Bitcoin, invested in the Bitcoin, and less so the U.S., whatever it is, with the Federal Reserve. Now, once you begin to get a greater understanding of Bitcoin, you will, this is my experience, you will want to just about jettison your exposure to the Federal Reserve note, because you know that it means you and your family nothing but ill will. You know that it does not help you nor your family. Is it an instrument that you could purchase goods and services? Of course it is. Right now it is. However, since it has lost nearly all, 99% of its buying power since it was initiated in 1913, how good is it really? And what good is it for you? Now, the Bitcoin, as we can see, goes up every year. In fact, there is no asset since the invention of Bitcoin in 2009 that has outperformed it by any stretch. You can throw anything at me. Manhattan real estate has not outperformed the Bitcoin. No, no, and no, it has not. Let me give you an example real quick and very recent. In January of 2024, if you had $33,000, could have bought one whole Bitcoin. It's now January, still January of 2025. And the Bitcoin is at $105,000. Can I guarantee that this performance is going to continue? I mean, I can't guarantee anything, right? I can't guarantee the sun's coming up tomorrow because I'm not God. But what I can say is that its track record and its programming dictates that it's deflationary. So any instrument like the Federal Reserve note, which is inflationary and debt-based, can only debase against the Bitcoin. And that's what gets these people scared. I know I went a little long in that, but that's why Forbes, that's why all of these mainstream, Bloomberg, all that, that's why they don't like the Bitcoin, because they're heavily invested in the Federal Reserve note. So, Corinne, good to see you. Let's see, what do we got here? Coming back to the Christopher Ott feed, and I'm not seeing, looks like we have two on, but I'm not seeing exactly who it is yet. So as you pop up, I'll hopefully see that. Now, this is from X. The Bitcoin historian says Utah to become the second state to vote on strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. Now, as you can see, and as you probably know, I am not the only person that likes Bitcoin, not by a long shot. So as we see more and more people shining to the Bitcoin, coming up to and investing in the Bitcoin, okay, learning about it, we see that if there ever was a time that the big boys wanted to hide the value of the Bitcoin, they wanted to hide perhaps its utility or what it is that it could mean to us, they can't do it anymore. That means that they're jumping in. Louis, good to see you, Louis. That means they're jumping in. Okay. So here this Bitcoin historian on X says that Utah is to become the second state. Now, I can't remember. I might have covered this already, but Utah is going to become the second state. Okay. To vote on a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, not only will the US of A have its own Bitcoin reserve, I believe if every state is wise, every state will have a Bitcoin reserve. I'm sure Texas has already got it in the works. So what I'm getting at is, why don't you get a Bitcoin reserve for you and your family? I'm not telling you anything. I'm not ordering. I can't do that. I'm all for free will. What I'm saying is, if you want to learn more about it, maybe get in touch with me. Okay, Bitcoin Otter at secure, SEKUR.com. I'm not going to charge you. Anybody who's watching this is a friend of mine. And again, we're a ministry, right? We run things differently. So I'm here to help you. I'm not an expert. Okay, I can't give you expert advice, but I'm definitely a step up from the beginner. So if you want to learn something, and I've already had people calling me at all hours of the day and night, which is fine. I might not answer. I will get back to you though. Again, the email, bitcoinotter at secure.com. So Utah being the second state, I would imagine we're going to get more and more news on this. And it's going to come to the point when we won't even have to say it. It'll just be a wide adoption, and it'll be basically repeating ourselves again and again. Sue says, what do you think about Trump's purge of the FBI? 12 or so executive assistant directors. I think it's excellent news. I think it is necessary for that to happen. In order for our country to go forward, ladies and gentlemen, in order for it to truly be of we the people, we have to purge. We have to purge the old guard, okay? Because they do not care about we the people. In fact, all they care about is who owns them. Yes, they are owned. Just like the Federal Reserve is owned by a small group, a cabal, if you will, of extremely wealthy people. And you're not one of them. If you're watching this show, you are definitely not one of the owners of the Federal Reserve. So I have no qualms about telling you what I tell you, and don't care if it's offensive because you're not one of them. Just like these FBI people, are they the boots on the ground? No, I've had the privilege of meeting some FBI agents. Call one or two of them friend even. They're not the assistant executive director type. No, I don't believe I would brush elbows with them, nor would they want to brush elbows with me, if you know what I mean. So, yes, Sue, that purge is necessary, I believe. And I think 12 is stopping way too short. So, my opinion, and who the hell am I, right? My opinion is we don't need the FBI. Why do I say that? Because people much smarter than me didn't include it when they were writing up that, piece of paper. It's called the Constitution. Yeah. There's another one called the Bill of Rights. Yeah. Those beautiful documents have nothing in them that would even come close to putting the responsibility on the federal government of having an investigatory body. No, and no. About the only things that we see that are mandated by the Constitution to create some sort of federal agency would be customs and immigration, border protection, right? Now, I do not agree that they should have mixed the two. That was a totalitarian move, consolidation of power by the regime. At that time, it was Bush. I need a spittoon around here, okay, for these types of, things that come out of my mouth. Bush, right? I can barely even say the name. That crime family has done us much harm. So, going forward, Sue, I do believe that is a start, but just a start. There are many three-letter agencies that need purging and or annihilation. Not people. I'm not violent. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the agencies. I'm talking about the bureaucracies, the things that bleed us dry as a nation, that bleed us dry. I mean, who knows? The stat is out there. How many months do we work to pay our taxes? How many months out of the year do we work to pay taxes? It's mind-boggling. So, yes, Sue, I am in agreement with that purge. Also, the head of the Czech Republic's central bank reveals proposal to buy up $7 billion worth of Bitcoin. Again, ladies and gents, what we have is, I won't call it a mad scramble because there is still Bitcoin out there to buy. I do, however, believe that at some point in time, and please don't peg me to a date, at some point in time, you're going to be wanting to buy Bitcoin and it won't be available for purchase. Yeah, I do believe that. And please forgive me. I've changed from Arabica coffee to Brazilian coffee, and wow, it's very good. Very good. Cameron's is the name of it. It comes in a 4-pound bag. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, all that to say, I'm enjoying my coffee and my time with you. Thank you for being here with us. Please throw your questions up there. I don't have a ton of notes today. I really don't. And I don't need them because there's so much going on. We can be here for a long time, although I won't keep you. I won't. Got more Bitcoin news, though. This is News BTC. Altcoin season alert. Altcoin season alert. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen previous iterations of the Bitcoin Otter show, you'll know that we are, in a word, banking on the altcoin season. What is an altcoin, Otter? An altcoin is any other coin but the Bitcoin, because the Bitcoin is the big daddy, right? So any other coin is called an altcoin. Now, what I didn't know 4 years ago when I jumped into this, but I do know now and I'm willing to pass on, is that Bitcoin is cyclical. So it has what's called the halving, which means that its issuance is halved every 4 years. And after that halving period, a certain amount of days, months go by, and then the Bitcoin surges. It's in its program. It's in its program, ladies and gentlemen. I am not the author of that, of course. But in the program, as a deflationary monetary instrument, or perhaps a store of value, wherever you lie on that, that's your business. However, it is cyclical. There is a cycle that you can follow and depend on, right? I'm going to give you that thing that they give you, right? Which is future results may vary or differ from past performance. So you do you. But I want to let you know, altcoin season is nearly upon us, meaning all the other coins that are going to surge right along with, and then eclipse, yes, eclipse the Bitcoin, are getting ready. Their engines are started, ladies and gentlemen. I can hear some of them revving, and I'm going to get on one right now. I'm going to get on that subject. I can hear the revving of the altcoins. They're still low if you want to get in any. That's up to you. That's up to you, your style of investments. But the altcoin season alert is upon us. Analyst says December surge was the preview. Don't miss the movie. The crypto market is gearing up for an explosive altcoin season, which could see major cryptocurrencies skyrocket to new highs. After experiencing a surge in December, altcoins entered a correction, which was when you, me, and others could have bought at a lower price, which is the idea, right? Buy low, leaving their next move uncertain. And there is the crux of the matter: uncertainty. I am perhaps foolish in that I am more certain than I ever was before that the little bit of money that I have invested in the altcoins is going to come back at me, but in a greater scale. And we'll talk about the Onyx coin that we highlighted last week in a minute. But suffice it to say that the Bitcoin is not done surging, but there will come a point, and I wish I could name you this date and this time, in 2025. Perhaps some believe it might even go to 2026. I don't know. But there will come a time, if this cycle plays along like all 4 other cycles, or excuse me, no, this is the 4th, I believe. So the cycle, if it follows suit, is basically going to come to a point when the altcoins surpass the performance of, some have already, the Bitcoin. So let's hold on. Let's put our seatbelts on, ladies and gents. See if I can see anything. Nothing yet in the Christopher Odd feed. So here's one. KuCoin. KuCoin is a crypto exchange. It was one of the first, if not the first, crypto exchange I used. Very user-friendly, very good, very easy to see, easy to understand. Putting your crypto here, sending it there, all that, which is why the usual suspects banned it. Oh, yeah, you could have all this, that, and the other. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me about it, and I'll listen to a point. But the fact of the matter is, it was very easy for beginners, and I believe that's why the DOJ, the SEC came after it. So KuCoin welcomes the next chapter following favorable DOJ settlement. So the bullies got done with them, hopefully. And they fined KuCoin $300 million. They punished them. And for us, that means 2 more years of not being able to use KuCoin. Now, I don't use Coinbase. Many people are very big fans of Coinbase. They wouldn't have me. I think I filled something out wrong, and it's just been a morass of me talking to them and them not wanting to talk to me. So the proverbial screw you is in effect to Coinbase. I'd give you the finger, but kids might be watching Coinbase. Sue says, okay, here's another topic that's interesting. Trump's tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. Hold the thought, Sue. Hold the thought. We're almost done with the cryptos, but you have a very good point. Okay? Tariffs are going to play a very big factor. They're going to play a big role in what's going on. However, when we have things like meddling in our cryptos, we have to know where it's coming from. And in the case of KuCoin, it's coming from the usual suspects, the U.S. government. Cointelegraph, interest in Bitcoin-backed loan returns. Will TradFi join this time? TradFi is traditional finance. Now, Sue, going on your topic, tariffs in Mexico, Canada, and China. So it's a battle. This is the way I see it. You might differ. Probably do. But it's a battle. That battle right now consists of the United States and its strong dollar, other countries with currencies weaker than the US dollar. How do tariffs play into that? Well, tariffs necessarily mean that it will cost the nation more to export to the United States than previously. They don't like that. How do we mitigate that? We lower the strength of the US dollar. Donald Trump is attempting that. And of course, the US Federal Reserve is resisting. So they're not dropping rates. They're not playing along because they know what Donald Trump means to their system. It is a death knell. Our vote for Donald Trump is like us hitting the freedom bell, the liberty bell, if you will. Every one of us that voted for Donald Trump hit that liberty bell, freeing us from the Federal Reserve. It hasn't happened yet. I know, but it will, and they know it, and they're fighting. They will not prevail. We will have tariffs paying our way for the federal government, U.S. federal government. It happened before. William McKinley, who was shot in my hometown, Buffalo, New York, by the usual suspects because he did finance the federal government on tariffs paid for by other countries. America first. America first, ladies and gentlemen. So Mexico, Canada, and China. As you said, Sue, they're not happy about it. I don't know that you said that, but I think you might have been pointing at that. They're not happy about it. But the fact of the matter is they're going to pay it. Why are they going to pay it? Because as the United States moves forward in the world as a light, if you will, a city on the hill, an example of freedom and decentralization. Centralization is our enemy because it says that there will be a one world government. There will be a one world currency. The Bible talks about this. It's not a good thing. However, if each nation becomes a citizenry of patriots, meaning you love your country, whether you're in Canada, Mexico, United States, Germany, whatever, love your country. Love your country. You might not love your government, but you can love your country. Okay, God created countries, 70 of them, in fact, right after the flood of Noah. So 8 people survived the flood of Noah. 8 people got off that ark along with a bunch of animals. Okay, and when a globalist named Nimrod, fitting that he is a byword in our generation, attempted to and succeeded for a while, centralizing the government of the world and built this tower called the Tower of Babel. Yeah, whatever it was going to do, that tower, it was not good. So God looked down and said, hey, these people are going to succeed. Even though I told them, spread out. They're not doing it. So what did God do? He struck them with languages, 70 different languages. How do we know? Well, it's right there in the scripture that 70 nations were created that day. So nations are a creation of God. An international organization, that's where Satanists come in. That's where our enemy comes. He wants to align every nation under him so that he rules it all. Simple. But we got to fight it, right? We have to fight it. And that's why the Federal Reserve, which is wanting to create a worldwide currency that rules us all, they are our enemy. It's just a fact. So they want to fight weakening the dollar because they don't want to go to tariffs funding our federal government. I hope I'm not meandering here. If anybody's not catching all this, please throw it up. Throw up your question. But what I'm getting at is this. The end goal of these Trump orders, this policy of Donald Trump, is to eliminate the Federal Reserve, is to eliminate the IRS, to eliminate your tax debt. Okay, that burden that we have every year, we got to work a couple months. I don't know, some of it, we might go into March, perhaps even, before we've shuck off that weight on our shoulders of the IRS, paying our taxes. Some people go further, and it's the working man, right? The wealthy people know how to get out of it. And it's not even paying a soldier, not even paying for a bridge to be built, not even paying a federal employee, because what we're really doing is trying to pay down the principal, the interest on the debt. We can't even do that. So the Federal Reserve has us where they want us. And every vote that we cast for Donald Trump will hopefully be a death knell to that corrupt system. So, yeah, Mexico, Canada, and China, among others, are going to have to wait and be patient because, yes, they will pay tariffs. And, yes, our dollar will at some point or another be weakened, perhaps beyond the control of the Federal Reserve. We will see. That remains to be seen. So this Cointelegraph article, interest in Bitcoin-backed loans returns. Will traditional finance join this time? So a couple things go into this. Now, it's also the case that it's been ruled by some, I won't use the term August body, but some banking cabal members, that it is now possible. I think it was Powell said it. Powell being the head of the evil Federal Reserve, figurehead, that is. So banks can now hold in custody Bitcoin. And what does that mean? That means that we can borrow off of that, or other people can borrow from your Bitcoin. There was an app called Celsius, and I mentioned this. If you look back a few years in our archives, you can see that I was actually part of that app. Not, its formation of any kind. I was a client. And what I was able to do was the little bit of Bitcoin I had, I could deposit it in Celsius, in a wallet that Celsius has under my name. So when I deposited my Bitcoin, they were paying me, I want to say 6.5% at one point on my Bitcoin in Bitcoin. So my Bitcoin was making me more Bitcoin. Problem was, there was very little regulation there. And I'm sure it was leaned upon by the usual suspects, Federal Reserve, right? So that kind of lending, that kind of free, decentralized, well, it was centralized because it was one company, right? But that kind of thing is what the Federal Reserve doesn't want, because that gives you power. That gives you the ability to earn a return on a non-Federal Reserve owned product. In this case, the Bitcoin, a decentralized financial instrument that you own. If you have dollars in the bank, you don't own them. The bank owns them, right? Remember that time when Jesus said, someone tossed me a denarius. And he looked at the coin and he says, whose image is on this coin? And they said, Caesar. And he said, this was in reaction to, should we pay taxes? And he said, then this is Caesar's money. Pay Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That's the problem. The current Caesar is the Federal Reserve. Their name is right on our bills, along with the triangle, declaring them to be an evil organization because, well, I'll get into that some other time. But the Federal Reserve owns the Federal Reserve note, which is also used as the US dollar. And they don't like it when you earn interest and get a return on your investment of any other type of asset. So they figuratively blew up Celsius, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. I thank God got out of it in time, but all that says that if we can get some regulation around this, if we can get some sort of framework that everyone can agree upon and contracts are signed, then we can have traditional finance, custody Bitcoin, and we could earn money in the form of interest on our Bitcoin and not sell it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is considered progress. So putting one's Bitcoin to work can be a smart move, says this Cointelegraph article. It's not without risk. Remember Celsius, they say? Some investors might view the entry of traditional finance institutions with stronger customer protection and protectoral procedures as a sign that Bitcoin, backed loans could be more secure going forward. Take, for example, Cantor Fitzgerald, a New York financial firm that is invested in Tether. Tether is a coin, a crypto that goes almost cent for cent with, in fact, that's their purpose, to go with the US dollar. So you can go in and out of other cryptos, but when you go into Tether, you're marking time, so to speak, with the dollar. You're not losing or gaining anything. It's following the dollar. So, and it launched a Bitcoin lending program in November of 2024. Cantor Fitzgerald it was. After the repeal of the infamous SAB 121 accounting rule on January 23rd, publicly traded banks can now start developing their own Bitcoin-backed loan services. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. So we're hoping that people like myself that were in the Bitcoin area, if you will, we're hoping that traditional finance is going to wake up. Actually, we're hoping that we're going to break its bonds that have been, fettering us for so long. We don't want to play their game anymore, and hopefully we won't have to. So, here we go. Finally, I'm getting the uptick here. Danny Rios, good to see you. Mike, good to see you. Michael, Caleb, Dan says let's do it. Jody, glad to see you, Jody. We had a lot going on, right, Jody? Corinne, Arnold, Louis, and Julian. Arnold says XRP. I agree. Arnold says Coinbase closed the U.S. users years ago. I had to transfer from Coinbase to a private wallet. But it's up again now. It's up again, I believe. Jim says hi. Oh, he saw that they were trying to impeach him already. Did you hear about it? Yeah, I did see that. I saw that they're working on it. And it's amazing that it took them this long. It's amazing that it took the usual suspects this long to attempt an impeachment on our favorite president. Why do I say that? Because I think it's a success on the part of his administration. They have been shooting out commie killers in the form of executive orders at a rate never before seen. So, well, I don't know, maybe the communist himself, the figurehead Joe Biden, he shot out a bunch, basically repealing all freedom, as much freedom as he could, in the form of executive orders when he first came in. So perhaps, I think Trump has eclipsed that. I'm not sure. But I'm glad to see everybody watching. Let me know if there's anything else you want to touch on. But Sue, yeah, we covered the tariffs and stuff like that. Now we're going into traditional finance. What I would like to do is talk to you about the coin that we talked about last week. XCN is its ticker, XCN, for Onyx coin, ONYX coin, Onyx coin. So it's in the vein of the AI, okay? It's an AI startup. So when we started with this, and Jody, I think it was you that mentioned this to us, or me, it was at, I think, 1.5 cents. Last week when we mentioned it, it was at 2 cents. This week it's at 3.5 cents. Am I guaranteeing that it's going to go forward and it's going to, make you a millionaire? I am not. But Barry, good to see you, Barry. I am not going to sit here talking about cryptocurrencies and not turn you on to something that, for full disclosure, I am invested in. Not a huge amount, a couple $100, but I am invested in it and it's done me well so far. I could easily cash out my $250 that I invested and still have $500 some dollars left or more in that particular asset, and let it ride. You're using the house money, right? So that is a strategy. If you're willing to get into this and you need help, because there's a little bit of a learning curve there, not a big one, just a little one, let me know. Bitcoin Otter at secure.com, SEKUR, secure.com. Now, I am remiss. So we're past the halfway mark. We are on, and you are watching or listening to 97.7 FM KCYP, the city out of McAllen, Texas. We're here in the McAllen Creative Incubator, where there are many creative people, as you can imagine, sculptors, right? Artists, photographers, musicians. You might even hear them from time to time behind us here. However, we're also going out on YouTube, Facebook, Radio Garden, and TuneIn Radio, are two apps that you can tune into 97.7 KCYP here out of McAllen, Texas. So, as I mentioned those things, I will also say that it's my pleasure to give you this news, all this stuff that I put out every week, but it's also with the intent that you somehow profit by it. So when I bring up coins like XCN, it's your choice. You can get into it. You might not. You might. Whatever. XRP, we have a couple fans here. Now, that is definitely no secret because it's a huge coin right now. Surging. Yes, it is. But not many of us think it's going to stay as low as it is. And if we go back to one of the articles we just touched on, the altcoin season is just about to kick off. It's right around the corner. So if you have any ideas, throw them out. Email me at bitcoinotter@secure.com, or hey, hit me up on Facebook. You know where to find me, right? So again, this is the token to watch, this XCN. If it says X, it's normally going to be some sort of transactional coin. And I'm sure XCN, Onyx Coin, has some sort of, how would you say, some sort of relation to that. So that's what we highlighted last week. And to keep you abreast of the situation, it's gone over 50% from what we discussed last week. Now, here's something, everybody. And I'm listening, and I'm watching and hoping to get some of your input on this. Everyone that's watching, please let me know if you have an opinion. But we had the tragedy last night of a passenger airplane, a commercial airline, coming, I believe it was from Wichita, Kansas, into Washington, D.C., struck or was struck by a helicopter. Now, the reason I say that I would like your opinion is because there are so many differing accounts of what happened that we may never get to the truth of the matter. And the reason I say that is that when we look for narratives behind an event, we almost always see different factions that usually can be broken down into two categories. One, the mainstream, which always and ever will seek to deceive us. Two, a plethora, yes, El Guapo, we have a plethora of differing viewpoints from alternative sources that may or may not be even close to what occurred. I'm always looking over here because everybody knows this. Everybody knows the mainstream angle because it is ordered centrally, cascaded down, regurgitated by every news anchor or reporter out there ad infinitum, so that you do not ever have to wonder what the official stance of the usual suspects is. You will be told, and they will tell you in terms like what you need to know. Okay? That's how they program us. The truth is almost always on this side, but finding it, ladies and gentlemen, finding it, ooh, therein lies the rub. So I have read accounts that, one, there is technology that exists whereby a Black Hawk type helicopter can be retrofitted to basically make it a drone. Now, do you believe that occurred? I don't know, but you can imagine that if it's plausible, or even you can conceive of it, it's conceivable, it's probably been done or is, on the way. So some of these accounts would say that there was a collision that should not have happened, but did. I don't know. Either way, it's a loss of life and tragic. So I don't want to ever give the impression that I'm belittling the event, because in this case, it most definitely happened. But what caused it, and will we ever find out? I don't know. So I'm literally and not figuratively asking that if any of you, Marcos, good to see you're up. Any of you have an idea or want to give me an opinion of what you think happened last night with flight 5324, I think it was 5432, something like that, out of Kansas, and the collision. Now, I can tell you what the usual suspects are saying, and they're saying basically that it's Trump's fault. Is that a mystery? Is that something you didn't expect? Is that something, out of the blue? Of course not. It's always Trump's fault. Doesn't matter if he's president, not president, it's his fault. Ever since 2015, when he said, hey, I'm going to run for president of the United States. Everything after that was his fault. In fact, many people, Oprah, Rosie O'Donnell, you name it. A lot of Hollywood wanted Donald Trump to run. Why? Because they didn't know who he was. Now, Rosie O'Donnell, she has also changed her how would you say, her viewpoint. But most of Hollywood has not. Okay, they're still sick and evil. So they hate Donald Trump because they know what Donald Trump represents. Donald Trump is the part of us that is going to take them down. We can help. How? We can spread the truth, expose the evil. That's what I'm here for. So while the usual suspects want us to blame Donald Trump because he ordered a hiring freeze recently. Why did he order a hiring freeze? Well, what he saw was an overtaking, if you will, of the federal agencies by DEI hiring. So DEI, I can't remember exactly what it stands for. If anybody remembers exactly what that swill stands for, please let me know. Let's see. So Sue just looked up XCN. It's on Change. Change Now is a decentralized exchange. If you guys didn't know that, it's great. I use it all the time. I'm impressed by it. It doesn't mean much, but if you want to learn how to use it, hit me up. And there were 3 listed: ETH, BSC, and Base. Are these different blockchains? Yes, they are. Yeah, Orange Man bad, right, Barry? Orange Man bad in every category. That's all. That's their mantra. Yes, Sue, they are 3 different. Right now, there's 3 different blockchains. You can buy it on the one that you like best or more, but I think the ETH will have the most liquidity because it's the biggest of the 3. And I have learned that their fees are lower. So if you have been dissuaded from using ETH, which I have, I don't like it at all. Their fee schedule, anyway, it's probably a brilliant project. Jeremiah, I know you're a very big fan of ETH. You might watch now and again, so I'm not beating up your project, but I shy away from it because it is exorbitant fee-wise. Now, I have been told, and I have, like I said, invested a little bit in this XCN coin, and I did not experience huge fees. So if you use the Change Now or your Coinbase account or whatever you use to receive XCN into your wallet, yes, it does work on Trust Wallet. That's, for me, where it's stored. Then you can pick yourself up some. I personally went with ETH because it's, like I said, I believe that there's more liquidity there. It's going to be a better chance that if and when you want to liquidate, you're going to have more opportunity to do so. Now, when we talk about this DEI hiring freeze, what we find is in every facet of our lives, people are being hired not because of what it is they can do, what it is they're capable of, but they're hired because of how they identify, how they tell you who they are. Doesn't matter what they look like, what God equipped them with, as far as sexual organs. It matters what they identify as, and you must comply. Perhaps skin tone in some cases, religion, perhaps, though Christianity is almost always out of that equation. But they will choose their employees based on many different criteria that does not incorporate merit. So if you're a pilot, let's say, it matters a lot whether you are one of 47 or 3 million genders, but it doesn't matter as much if you can fly a plane. See where I'm going? I think you see where I'm going. So DEI practices have to be eliminated if we want a serviceable government. So when Donald Trump put the hiring freeze on DEI, and now it's being used as a cudgel by the usual suspects, because 10 days later, something like this happened, a tragedy happened, and the usual suspects will never, ever let a tragedy go to waste. So, of course, Trump is coming right back. And he's basically saying that, there weren't enough. There just weren't enough. And that's because of, the bad guys. So either way, there's a staffing problem, whether you see it as, people who shouldn't really be flying the planes we're flying on, have jobs, or you see it as, hey, we need to hire, those old military pilots and so forth, and trust that they're going to be able to fly us right. That's up to you. That decision is up to you. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you do in your bedroom when you're with another consenting adult, right? Doesn't matter to me. What matters is that you can fly the plane that I paid a ticket for. That's what matters. You do whatever you want to do in private. It doesn't matter. Where you came from doesn't matter. What you look like doesn't matter. Male or female doesn't matter. Okay? Doesn't matter. Are you capable? Have you been promoted throughout your career on a merit-based system, or is it just you ticking the boxes as to what you believe is the truth when it has very little regard for truth? That is my concern. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am sincerely praying for the victims and the families of those people that were in the crash. I will do nothing to diminish the fact that it was a tragedy. What I am encouraging, though, is keeping an open mind as to how it occurred, why it occurred, and how possibly we can prevent it in the future. So with that, I'd like to say that we're coming upon the ending of the show. And I want to thank you all for joining me. And thank you for participating. Sue, Arnold, Jody, everyone else who came up, everyone else. Barry, Marcos, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you all. And John, good to see you. And I appreciate it. Now, for those of you who are watching this in the future and you're not watching this live, thank you for that also. Hit me up in the comments. I usually follow them after the show, and or email bitcoinotter@secure.com. bitcoinotter@secure.com, or hit me up on Facebook, whatever you want to do. But if you want some hints, pointers of this XCN coin, do the same. Hit me up. And for that, I'm about to sign off. But first, I want to let you know that I'm praying for you in America, that we succeed, that we overthrow the evil that had us under wraps. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. I'm out.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show
Oh my God, I love you so much.
on 90.